Timcast IRL will be live in Miami with Patrick Bet David, Donald Trump Jr., Matt Gaetz, and Luke Rudkowski. Join us there. Get your tickets by clicking the link in the description below or by going to timcast.com. Take a look at this from CNN. As we get started with the story, White House sends letter to news execs urging outlets to ramp up scrutiny of GOP's Biden impeachment inquiry based on lies. I just want to stress, Oliver Darcy is a deeply evil individual. How do I know this? I know Oliver Darcy. I've talked to him on many occasions. He's interviewed me on a variety of stories. I do not believe it reasonable that Oliver Darcy is unaware of what's going on politically. I think he's more than well aware. Of course, this is the guy who wrote the story. The reason why I say he's evil, here's the opening paragraph. The White House sent a letter to top U.S. news executives on Wednesday, urging them to intensify their scrutiny of House Republicans after Speaker Kevin McCarthy launched an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden, despite having found no evidence of a crime. Let's just pause right there, and I'll break down for you the psychotic, depraved, evil manipulations of these people like Oliver Darcy. He is what I would describe as like, I think malicious evil is a good way to describe him. Why? First, if you are telling someone something happened, there is no reason for you to insert a non sequitur fact to frame the story. This is poisoning the well. Adding, despite having found no evidence of a crime, is immaterial to an impeachment inquiry. An inquiry is quite literally an investigation. We do not typically launch an indictment against an individual and then investigate. We investigate and then indict. Impeachment is indictment, meaning Kevin McCarthy has said, there is a preponderance of evidence of wrongdoing. We're going to begin an investigation to determine whether or not this rises to the level of impeachment. If it does, we will vote for impeachment. Inserting that sentence into the article is a lie. There's a tremendous amount of evidence cited by Kevin McCarthy and Republicans, reported by the New York Times, by Politico, by the Wall Street Journal, and these crackpot, and even CNN. And so it's these crackpot evil people at NBC News, at the AP, and at CNN who are trying to insert lies to shift the political narrative. There is no reason for that sentence to be in this article because you do not need evidence of a crime for an inquiry. You need probable cause. Now, again, we do have evidence of a crime, and he's lying about there being no evidence, which is fascinating. But the big story here, outside of the fact that the press is evil, and most of them are, not all of them, but the corporate press, the enemy of the people. The big story here is the White House, in pure desperation, just sent a demand letter to the press saying, scrutinize this. Wow. In what reality is the federal government? Here's what you do. You send a CIA or FBI guy to the journalists and tell them to do it. An open letter shows they have lost control.
Do you have the copy of the letter? Did it get leaked?
No, just
we don't even know who all they sent.
I mean, there's statements from it. A spokesperson talked about it, but this is widely reported across the board that they did this.
It sounds like the there's no proof or there's no evidence claim is the cover that they're running. I've been hearing this popping up. By the way, if you ever talk about Hunter, no evidence. Even my mom told me there's no evidence. I'm like, why would you say there is or isn't? Either way, how do you know if there is or isn't? Like she must have been hearing this on TV.
Yes,
100%.
It's a primer. That's why Oliver Darcy is an evil piece of trash. Yeah. Because what he is doing is inserting something immaterial to an inquiry so that people like your mom say there's no evidence though. And you say to your mom, you'd be like, well, why would they have the evidence before the investigation? What do you mean?
Exactly.
And they're doing an impeachment, but with no evidence. No, they're doing an investigation to find the evidence.
Yeah. Well, I was just telling her about Hunter's stuff with Burisma, and she was like, "But there's no evidence." And I was like, "I don't have 20 minutes right now."
There's bank accounts. There's bank accounts that have transfers. There's a lot of money.
Online, though, that's the problem. Is that they've stonewalled most of that information online. It's been a legacy media blackout, and they do that on purpose because, again, if they make sure that the only people that know about it are the politically initiated, you've automatically, when the headline drops that, a baseless impeachment inquiry is taking place, 90% of people are going to believe it. Because think about how many people you can tell about the Hunter Biden laptop from hell. And they're like, wait, what? What? That exists? Huh?
Did you know that Hunter Biden said his dad takes his salary? Well, I don't know about that. Did you see the video where Joe Biden said he went to Ukraine to get the prosecutor investigating his son fired, and he threatened to withhold congressionally approved loan guarantees? I've never seen that video. Yeah, we get it. Yeah. You've never seen the videos. This is the purpose of, they always do this. They'll say, Donald Trump, comma, without evidence, comma, claim. Here's my favorite one. There was an article from CNN that was ragging on Trump for claiming that Joe Biden ordered his prosecution. And they said that it was a conspiratorial claim or something, despite the New York Times quite literally having reported it. The New York Times reported, we've quoted it like 5 times this week already, that Joe Biden said he told his staff he wants Donald Trump prosecuted for January 6th, and he wants Merrick Garland to stop acting like a ponderous judge and be decisive. Yep. Like, what more do you need? That is him saying, arrest him.
Parallel realities.
And then you get, so this is what happens. The New York Times reports it. Trump hears it. Trump speaks at a rally and says, and Crooked Joe is trying to prosecute me, telling Merrick Garland to do it. And then when he says it, CNN writes, Trump pushed a conspiracy theory that Biden ordered his arrest. This is what they did all throughout his first term. Trump would read the news and then repeat what they said, and then they would reverse what they said.
To this day, people still tell us that Trump said that he wanted people to inject bleach into their veins.
Yep.
So we've seen this.
That's
literally
crazy.
To this day, people still run that line. A lot of them DeSantis supporters. No shade on them, but hey, obligatory reference. There you go. But,
I mean, the fascinating thing about the DeSantis phenomenon, considering I think at this point it's just like there isn't one. DeSantis is immaterial. I'll say this fact: if we run a segment on DeSantis, it basically just vanishes. No one even cares what's going on with his campaign anymore. But I still see his prominent, surrogates and personalities saying things like, everyone I talk to says DeSantis is the one we need. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Dude. Like, that's just not true at all. Because when I talk to people who have concerns about Trump, they're saying Vivek Ramaswamy. Yeah, I get it. There's a lot of polling for DeSantis still. And Vivek has had a few moments where he surpassed DeSantis, but DeSantis remains, in the principal position after Trump. But we've gone all over the place. I was in Portland, Maine. I was in the Outer Banks. I've not experienced this DeSantis. He's the real, I see Trump flags everywhere.
That's that kind of takes me back to why they're doing all this to Trump and why DeSantis refuses to drop out. Because again, they're trying to taint the well. Right now, you're going to have an impeachment inquiry against Joe Biden. If they have to kick Joe Biden out, and, again, they want to do it where he's riding off the sunset, saying, oh, his health's just bad and he just doesn't want to hold up the office. No, we're going to stay in with an impeachment. But the thing is, if they kick Trump off of the ballots and do that, they need somebody else to stay in the second place. And that's why, even though he's predicted to lose Iowa, they're tempering expectations on Iowa. DeSantis he's still staying in stubbornly, even though they're literally blowing through money. And so this media scrutiny on this impeachment, it's basically kind of walking it all down. You gotta kind of taint the wells of public opinion. You already know you're probably going to have enough to impeach, not enough to remove. So you don't want Joe Biden to be impeached and then resign because of the impeachment. And it looks like, okay, this guy was like a stone cold criminal. That's what you don't want. So they're trying to, again, taint the well, taint public perception, and then get Trump out of there.
Now we've got, 4 states where there are lawsuits to remove Trump, I think. So you've got Colorado, Oklahoma, Minnesota, and Florida. And then Arizona, they entertained it, but the Secretary of State was like, I can't do this. New Hampshire, there was a debate. But these 4 states, there are lawsuits. My question is, where are the lawsuits to remove Joe Biden from the ballot under the 14th Amendment for being an insurrectionist? Did Donald Trump get convicted in a criminal court of being an insurrectionist? No. So why are they filing lawsuits right now? In their opinion, Donald Trump saying peacefully protest warrants insurrection. In my opinion, Joe Biden ordering his attorney general to arrest his political rival is an insurrection against our institutions and our Constitution. And as such, I think he should be ineligible to run for president. He should have his name removed from the ballot. Where are he should actually be removed from office immediately. So where are any of the lawsuits from the right challenging Joe Biden being on the ballot?
You're going to get sternly worded letters. Come on. Don't we all just love those sternly worded letters?
Sternly worded letters.
I promise he might even use a wordy dirt in there and then, really make it sting. But no, this is exactly what we're talking about, which is.
They will remove Trump's name from the ballot. I will say this. there's, in my mind, a 95% chance that in some form Trump's name is removed from the ballot somewhere. Why? In Arizona, they printed the wrong sized ballot on the wrong sized paper and jammed up all the machines. What I expect to happen at the very last minute, and so October of next year, maybe, when the ballots are being sent out, batches of them will not have Trump's name on it. And then someone in these offices, Secretary of State or otherwise, will say, Trump is an insurrectionist. It's not in dispute. So I removed his name under the 14th Amendment. They will be sued. And then come December, the Supreme Court will say, hey, you can't do that. And they'll say, okay, we can't. We'll put his name back post haste. Oh, he lost, by the way.
Mm-hmm. That's how it always goes, man. But I mean, this is what's happening. You've got ideological capture in the judicial field. You know, in the court of law, all your lawyers are coming out. They're literally left-leaning. Your judges are left-leaning. It's literally becoming to the point where they can do whatever the heck they want. And then, you know, you have conservatives. We're over here telling our kids, oh, no, don't go to college. Go get a trade. And, you know, our kids, they're just, you know, our boys, they're young boys. They're like, okay, I'll go be an electrician because all they want is just little money. They want to chase it and get some puniti on the side. So they're like, you know, I'm just going to go where the money is. But then your institutions are completely captured and they're left leaning, and all the legal interpretations of this whole immutable constitution are all turned against you. And this is kind of the problem that we face. It's like, even if we win 2024, because of how the law is, because of how they're doing these counties, you're not guaranteed to even have a lasting victory because our feeder system, our farm system is all screwed up.
Yeah, true.
Abject corruption across the country. And unfortunately, the people who believe in this country believe in its rules and its morals and its ethics. And the people who don't, they cheat.
That goes to the point that I made the other day about how liberals need to understand that you can only be a liberal, and I'm talking about classical liberals. Yeah. Classical liberals need to understand that you can only be a liberal with other liberals.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you cannot be a liberal and engage with fascists. You cannot be a liberal and engage with authoritarians like Marxists and stuff because they don't hold the same values that liberals do. If you don't think honesty is important, then you'll manipulate words and change the meaning so that way you can just get your way. Yeah. That's the point. If we were dealing with liberals, you wouldn't have people trying to manipulate the words that we're using to describe ideas.
Right.
The point of manipulating the words is to circumvent the actual law. If you were a liberal, then you would say, well, I'm going to honestly present my case. And if your case is better than my case, we're looking to collaborate on an idea and produce a better result for people. So what we're going to do is collaborate, blah, blah, blah. If you're not looking for that, if you're just looking for power, then you'll manipulate, you'll twist words, you'll do whatever you can. Liberals need to understand when you're dealing with authoritarians, liberalism doesn't work.
Do you think it works with corporatism at all?
I don't understand your question.
Well, I feel like corporations are the most fascist aspect of our society, the collusion with the government. So like, I've always thought that I have some liberal vestige in me, but I've been born and raised in this corporatocracy and I just kind of play along. I send taxes to the war machine. And so like, do we even have any liberalism in this society? I want to think that I do.
The problem is liberalism, and having any sort of liberal society creates a vacuum of which authoritarians can use to take power. You know, they always say you vote yourself into tyranny, but then you gotta your way out. Again, I'm not going to say the other one because that's apparently that's incitement these days. But
so is
paintball your way out of it?
Is that just like the economist's way to create authoritarianism legally?
So it's illegal. Corporatism legally is a cartel system, and that's the thing. It's not capitalism, it's corporatism. They've used corporatism as a weapon multiple times. You know, we can go back to how we tried to collapse Russia, and we literally brought their life expectancy of the average Russian male down to 50, you know, somewhere to mid 50s using corporatism, the cash for vouchers program, where they were basically converting the command economy into a capitalist society, and they gave starving Russians who needed medicine and food vouchers, and these vouchers weren't ever honored. They were never honored. So they gave them all of that, and then you got these Western firms, these corporate these kleptocrats coming in, working with the oligarchs who had the money and saying, "Hey, we need you to buy up these shares. And they use corporatism. They bought up all the economy and basically used that and then turned it into a weapon.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.